Good day to you. It's Nicole again. I wanted to share my first story with you. My very first time counseling at Wanakee. I had completed the leader in training program. I was 16 years old. And in that program, you come to camp for a week and you kind of get a mini version of staff training. You also get to be a camper, but you get time in the kitchen to work on maintenance, in the office, and or counseling, among other things. But I came back later in the summer to counsel for my very first week at Wanakee. And I was counseling swim camp, which was directed by my mom. You can hear more about some of my stories and my connection to camp on a podcast that I host or co-host for Wanakee called Big Red Farmhouse. You can find that wherever podcasts are available. I've told some things about swim camp. I won't go into it now. But my first experience as a counselor, 16 years old, and I was working in a 3-cabin site, which is not our typical structure at Wanakee. We try to have a 2-cabin site, most often co-ed, sometimes all-girls site, especially where there's just more female campers than male campers that come to camp. That's just a general trend, fun fact, or just a fact. Anyway, so I was in this 3-cabin site and I was dealing with 2 counselors. I was paired with 2 counselors that really didn't get along with each other. They had worked on staff that summer, they'd had some conflicts, and they were not able to communicate with each other. They were both international staff and they came from different places. I think they just never connected with each other. And what I experienced as a young counselor was one of the important lessons of being a camp counselor, which is you put the campers first. And despite what troubles you might have with the other adults that you're working with, it's really important to focus on the camper experience to make sure those campers feel welcome and a part of the group. And so that was something that was cemented in me from my very first experience, where I was with 2 co-counselors that really didn't communicate with each other. I felt a lot like the middleman, and that's a role that I have in other areas of life as well. But that was something that was really challenging for me as a young counselor, was learning to navigate those things. But for me, keeping the focus on the camper experience, that is really what the central thing was. So that, I guess, is lesson number 1 of being a camp counselor, is you are there for the experience of the kids. You're gonna get a lot out of it, depending on how much you put into it and the vibe of the group and how you connect with them. But it's so important that you remember the reason that you're there. So stay tuned for some more stories next time.